Once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining another session of Azure Power Lunch. Uh, as a disclaimer, this call is being recorded, and if you're not comfortable with it, please you can drop now. We have started the recording. So today, our topic are some of the discussed the two key updates about Azure Key Vaults. So as you know, Azure Key Vault is our service to securely store keys, certificates, and secrets securely. Uh, and what it allows you to do is instead of storing them in your code or storing them in uh, kind of in your configuration, you can store it in Key Vault. A number of services have direct integration with Key Vault, like you can store your encryption keys in here and use them to encrypt storage and things like that. Um, so with this update that is just been announced, especially the support for RBAC for data plane, now it is possible to provide access to individual keys to either identities or user. So what does that mean? So that's kind of like, let's take a quick tour of what is role-based access control. So first of all, if somebody doesn't know, Azure role-based access control is a way, it's an authorization system that allows you to give granular access to Azure services. It is works with Azure AD, and it allows you to control access to different Azure services and resources. In regards to Key Vault, prior to this update, you can give access to Key Vault as a reader or contributor and all, but you cannot give access to individual keys in the Key Vault. So you can say, okay, this group of users will have access to secrets. So if that user through that access policy has access to secret, they will have access to all the secrets. Another user group or managed identity may have access to certificates, but they will have access to all the certificates. With this RBAC ability, role-based access of the data plane, now you can go more granular. Now you can assign the scope. So you can say, okay, user one will have only access to these certificates and these keys and these secrets. User two will have access to these. Why this is important? Because a number of customers, or if you are a customer, what they wanted to do was they want to use key vaults which are used across the organization. Okay, so there may be there are certain keys which are on those or certificates which are on those key vaults which are used across the organization, and they are different for different application, and they don't want applications to see one application owner to see other application owners and keys. And one way to resolve it, create separate key vaults, but that of course add to the cost. So that's why they come up with this model where now you can have just like this, where you have, so let's say if you see on the left hand side there's an identity that can be a user, it can be a managed identity, and they have access to a certain secret. The second user has access to a certain key. Third one has access to another key. So the point is, in the end, so that's how you can kind of break down the access in a more granular fashion. Okay, so uh, this is currently in public preview. And in order to do that, we will take a look at quick demo. But first of all, just look at these roles. These are the key roles that you have to um, understand before assigning responsibility. So these are, for example, first, these are the roles which are not for kind of providing access, kind of where you can, if you are in this role, you can give access to other people. These are specific key vault roles. For example, certificate officer. Okay, that certificate officer has access to, they can manage the certificates, they can add new certificate, read them, all of it. On the other hand, uh, a like a secret officer can do the same thing. A secret user can basically, read those secrets, but they cannot change the secret. Okay. And the big thing is, with secret officer role, you can either give it to the entire key vault for an entire key vault, or you can give it at the level of a particular key, or sorry, a secret. So basically, you say, okay, person XYZ, they can manage this secret. They can add new versions to it, things like that. So all of it, and we will see that in action in a minute. So any questions? Okay. So first of all, let's go in here, and the question is how you will enable this thing. So there are two ways to enable it. You can go to an existing, you can, when you create a new key vault, let's do a create, and you can pick a version, all that. We are not going to be creating it, but just want to show it to you. You have to enable Azure role-based access control, and just realize that this is in public preview. So this is one way of doing it. Azure role-based access control when you're creating it. If you have an existing key vault, you can go to the access policy and make sure you enable it. Okay. And at that point, you will, everything that you do, it has to be through, every activity that you do with a key vault in regards to adding, removing, reading keys, secret, and certificate has to be driven through role-based access control. And I will show it to you in a second. So that's how you enable it. Okay. So for example, let's say I want to add a new certificate. Look, I am the owner of this subscription. I have all the rights to the subscription, and thus I have rights to the key vault. So I have full access to this key vault. But since this RBAC control, since I have enabled RBAC control, unless until I am given access to this key vault, to the certificates proper role, I have to be in a proper role to make any changes to it. If you are an owner, it doesn't make much sense. You can give yourself access, which I'm gonna do. But just to give you an idea that how this role-based access is kind of impacting your ability to interact with the key vault. So let's go in here. Let's add a role assignment. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to select a role, and I'm going to call it a certificate officer. And I'm going to just use so I can add a new certificate. Okay. Okay, so I am done. So I'm just going to go into certificates now. I'm going to refresh it. Okay, so this thing is gone. So it knows that I'm in the role. I'm going to generate a new cert. I'm going to call it cert 1. I'm going to call it. Okay, so I'm just going to do a. Okay, so that should do it. Let's create this cert. It's going to take a second. Cert is created. So now the cert is created. Now, let's say if I want to give somebody access to this cert, so they can, they can access this cert. They can do something with this cert. So let's go to this cert. And look, there's a new pane. Before you go to the cert, I mean, you can look at it, but now there is this thing, access control. So we have a lower, kind of a more granular level where we can apply this access control. And just keep in mind that you can do all of it through CLI as well. I'm showing it through the UI because it's easier to show, but you can do all of these things through CLI as well. So let's go in here. Let's go into the access control. And let's say we want to do an add role assignment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assign it a couple of roles. So first role is a Key Vault reader. So this role is needed because I'm going to show it from the portal. So basically, you should be able to get to the Key Vault and read the entities. And just keep in mind, reader does not have access to read any of the uh, value. So it cannot read a secret value. It cannot read a certificate value, things like that. It can only look at them like, okay, yeah, there are these secrets, but it cannot look at their value. Just keep that in mind. So I have a user called Brian. I'm going to add Brian Adams, and I'm going to give this role to it. And then the second role, I'm going to add Brian. I'm going to add I'm going to give it certificate officer just for this particular certificate. Okay, so I'm going to assign the name Adams. Here we go. Okay, so I did assign those two roles. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Just keep in mind, I made a mistake. I have to assign, let me refresh it. Okay, yeah. I have to assign the role of Key Vault reader at the Key Vault level. So the user can come in and look at the Key Vault. So let's go in here and let's give that role access. So I'm going to go into access. So remember, the only role, the main access is only to the certificate, the read-write access, but reader access to all the Key Vault. They can look what is there, but they can't look at the values. So which is the main more important thing. So once again, I'm gonna use the same role, Key Vault reader, and I'm gonna give it to. Okay, so I give this access. It's assigning the role assignment, and now I am going to go in here and sign in as that user. So I go into portal Azure.com. Okay, did I? Yeah, I misspelled. Okay, so I go in here. So once I sign in, so that's it. I go in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the key vaults. And let's refresh it one more time. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, there a key vault reader, that key vault is now showing up. Okay. So let's go into that key vault and let's see what this user can do. Okay. First of all, let's go into secrets. Okay, there are two secrets. Let's see if the user can access that secret. No, it can't. As you can see there, I can't. If I go into the secret, it says the operation is not allowed by RBAC. Secret value, I can't see it. It says operation is not allowed. So that's value. I can't see anything about this secret. So let me go back there. Let me click on certificates. Or let me go into key first. Let me see if I can generate a key. Let me try to generate key 1. Okay. this operation is not allowed by RBAC, so I cannot generate a key. What I can do ultimately, I can go into certificates. Let me try to look at the certificate. Okay. So yes, I can look at the certificate and, I can basically, read the certificate and things like that. I can edit that I can do. I can add a new version to the certificate. I can go in and I can add a new version. That's all. But I cannot create or a new certificate. So if I try to do it, like I can do it, cn is equal to cn2, and let me call it cn2, and let me try to create it. Yeah, fail. So you get an idea that basically I am now assigning this to a uh, particular user. I mean, it's very granular. I can basically give piecemeal access to different entities in my key vault, to different identities. Okay, so that's how I can break down the access and use maybe a one key vault for maybe dev test and one key vault for production. And I don't have to use multiple key vaults in order to break down access to those key vaults. Any questions? Okay, that's good. So this is basically, just keep in mind, as we saw, I mean, the access is pretty quick. I signed in, I was able to make changes to it, but it can take up to few minutes for this thing to propagate. Okay, so let's say you give somebody access and they tried it right there. It may or may not work for a few minutes. After that, it will work. So it may not work for a few minutes, but after that, it will work. So that just keep that in mind. Yeah, in the demo, it was instantaneous, but what they say is it may in some cases take a few minutes. Okay, so just want to mention that. Okay, so this is the first thing that we wanted to talk about. I mean, I have resources link in the end, which kind of goes over um, all of this in very much detail. What is it about, and about these roles? But I just want to mention it. I mean, put that in the presentation as well, so you can take a look. I mean, just one place, like, okay, what are these roles about? And so just as a reference. Okay, the second thing we want to talk about is Key Vault integration with Azure Event Grid. Once again, for the context, Event Grid is our event broker. Just like Service Bus is our message broker, Event Grid is our event broker. What it does is it provides you a single facade where you can publish events and other people can subscribe event, or you can subscribe to events raised by other people or Azure services. Basically, it's a pub sub um, for pub sub service for events. And there are a number of services which kind of Azure services which now integrated with Event Grid. All of these names are here: Blob Storage, and now Key Vault is joining them. So basically, and you can publish custom event as well, but now Key Vault is joining it. So let's see what we can do with those events. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a new logic app. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it two and just create it. Let's go to the resource. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use when and with Logic app, you have a trigger and you can have multiple action. You can only have one trigger. In this case, I'm going to use event grid as a trigger. So yes, continue. And what is the subscription? I'm going to use my internal subscription. Come on. Okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna use what resource I wanna use. Look, Key Vault is there. And then I'm gonna pick up my Key Vault resource, and that is this one. And look at the event types. I just want you to take a look and see what event types are available. Certificate expired, near expiry, new version of the certificate created. This is great. I mean, because and one of them is Key Vault access policy change. So you can monitor your Key Vault. You can say, okay, who is coming in and what are they changing in my Key Vault? What changes are they making to my Key Vault? Are there any, are there any certificates or my entities which are about to expire or things like that? So you can monitor all of that stuff. So by accident, if something is expired and then that caused something to fail, it will not happen. You will get an alert. So let's say what we're going to do, we're just going to do a simple test. We're going to say a secret new version created. So this is an alert. And what I'm going to do, I am going to create a Office 365 Outlook. I'm just going to send an email. Simple. Whenever a change happens, an email is sent, and that is on Azure. And okay, and subject is subject, and in the body of the message, I am going to put uh, event type and subject and topic. Okay, that's it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open my email. So this is my email, and I'll go in here and let's see what happens. So on the other hand, I'm going to go into my Key Vault and create a new version of a secret. So this is my secret, and I'm going to add a new version to it. I'm going to call it content is version 3. Okay. So let's create it. This is created. And what's going to happen is if we go back to the Logic app, um, it should have fired. And by the way, just keep in mind, it takes a few minutes to run the first time. So let's give it a second and let's see if I got an email. Okay, so let's go back here. But in any case, what's going to happen is you are going to see an email come in. Let's refresh it. See if we save the secret. Yes, it has been created. Let's give it a second. But in any case, you will see an email come in and it will show you like what are the information. So the point is, it's very easy. Now you can tie in to Key Vault events to further find out about secrets, certificates, or keys which are expiring, if somebody is adding the cert, if somebody is changing the policy. Because if somebody is changing the policy, you may want to know about it to see what's going on, why they're changing the policy, and things like that. So this is something that it allows you to do. So come on. Yeah, as I said, it takes a second. So let's just wait for it. In the meantime, any questions? Okay. Come on. So, by the way, if there are no questions, I will give everybody their 3 minutes back, and I hope to see everyone next week. Please, a link to resources is in the document. Take a look, see, what you think about it, play around with it. This is, just keep in mind, it's in public preview, so provide feedback, and hope to see everybody next week, and uh, I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much. Oh
Agreed.
yeah, it succeeded. So yeah, I mean, it worked. Took a bit time. Thank you.